The Board Secretary, Ellen Mathis. Those who register to speak will be called to the podium into the boardroom individually at the appropriate time. At this time, comments will be limited to 3 minutes per person. The board will not engage with any speaker, but will listen to all comments. At this time, I'd like to call Mitch Andrews to the podium for our prayer. And before Mitch says anything, I'd like to just recognize the absence of our board president, Ron Boone, and ask for prayers for Ron and his family during his healing and his return to us in the near future. We miss Ron's leadership. We miss his sense of humor. Mostly, we miss his servant's heart and his willingness to serve our college and our community. So please keep Ron and his family in your prayers.
Thank you. Will you please join me in prayer? Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you today so grateful that during these challenging times that you bless us and lift this institution up and strengthen us and allow this institution to continue to meet the educational needs of our students and community. Lord, we thank you for the persistence and dedication of our faculty and staff and all they're doing to ensure student success during this time. And Lord, we thank you for this group of leaders here today, these trustees, these volunteers who come dedicating their expertise and service to help this institution continue to thrive and succeed. Lord, now we lift up Ron Boone and his family during this time. We pray for Ron. We ask that you continue to wrap your arms around him and his family, strengthen them during this time, and bring Ron back to us here at TJC. Lord, we are truly, truly grateful for the many blessings that you bestow upon us. We ask all these things in your gracious and holy name. Amen.
At this time, we'd like to call our meeting to order and establish our quorum. Do we have Mr. Hills on the phone?
Yeah.
You can let us know. I think he's on the phone. Okay, you think he's on the phone, it's not on our Zoom? Right, okay. I can't hear.
Yeah,
I can't hear?
I don't see him in yet, so is he gonna call on his phone?
He said he was gonna Zoom.
He couldn't get in on Zoom, so they called, and she says, can't hear on phone.
We do have Ann Berkshire, Mike Hofer, Johnny Hills, hopefully soon, Dr. Prudhomme, Clint Roxburgh, London Gazelle, and then David Hudson is not with us today. So at this point, Dr. Mejia, would you like to bring us up to date?
Thank you very much, Ms. Dave. I just want to give a brief introduction and update on behalf of the college. 2020 was a difficult year for just about every higher education institution throughout the country. And I do want to celebrate the work that together we accomplished at Tyler Junior College by working together, living our values, believing in the three promises that have been so real for such a long time. We've heard the saying, work smarter, not harder, but we've had to do both for a long period of time because that's really what it was going to take to fulfill the mission. And in a tough year, there's a lot of things that we should celebrate at the institution. We continue to provide access to students. We continue to open doors and provide educational continuity. And that begins at the Board of Trustees and the support that all of you have provided to us. And we're grateful for that. To our faculty, staff, and administrators, and to the cabinet team that I work with on a daily basis, a sincere appreciation. We also went through our reaffirmation visit for accreditation, a truly successful visit. And we are very optimistic that at the annual meeting this year, we will get the announcement that we will be good for another 10 years with our accreditation. As we look to 2021 and moving forward, this is when we are at the most critical point of making the decisions that need to be done so that we again continue to lead the way for our region, state, and country. And that continues to show. There's a quote by Louis Pasteur who said that chance will favor the prepared. Chance will favor the prepared, and opportunity is going to favor the bold. And that's where I believe the black and gold truly comes through. And those who believe and have loved and served Tyler Junior College know that that's when everything that we talk about, the values, become real and so clear. Now, health and safety will continue to be paramount. That is just vital for what we do. We care for others. We join in the prayers for Mr. Boone and his family, and to everyone here present or participating through the link who has personally been affected by the health crisis that we're experiencing. So I want to thank everybody for the compliance culture that we are living through the college, because not only do we do it at the college, but we're ambassadors everywhere we go, and we're really always honest officers of the institution. Some of our priorities are going to include, we're going to strengthen our partnerships with everybody, with the school district, so that we continue to serve students and build a pathway to the college, with our higher ed institutions, as we saw the merger from UT Tyler, the UT Health Science Center, and our collaboration with them is going to benefit everyone. So this will continue to be strong. Partnerships with our legislators, with our communities. And it was our community who came forward and championed, and thanks to Mitch and everyone around the room as well, a concept called TJC Now that was about bringing help and aid to students immediately. The grocery company truly came forward and helped us with that, and we will always be grateful for it. In a time of need, people came together and we were able to provide relief to students who so badly needed our help. We are launching, and Kim, I believe that's today, the food pantry. And we're doing a soft lunch as we figure out details of the quote Sarah said yesterday. Sarah had to say it. I think Sarah said, we're going to open when we, what is it, fix the bugs, or what is it, address the bugs, but not the real bugs. Yeah, we're working out the bugs. But the food pantry is well intended. It's so that students do not experience hunger while they're really supposed to be focused on school and education. So that's really important. We're doing it in a collaboration with local organizations that are going to serve our students to serve well. Overall, we want to be a leader in our region, state, and country. And I've invited Kevin Bench. We know we're very proud of our 62 national championships. We're having to modify the way we do business right now, again, in the best interest of the healthcare of our community. So, Kevin, if you're okay, just taking a minute to give us an update on athletics and how we're rolling them out.
Yeah, certainly. Competition began a week ago last night, actually. So we're through our first week of Region 14 competition. I mentioned this in an email to Dr. Shepard last night that I've been really impressed with the work of our presidents in our conference and athletic directors in our conference of putting appropriate protocols in place to make sure that our competitors are safe, or that we're able to conduct it in a safe manner. We've chosen early on to continue to evaluate the landscape around us and refrain from having spectators in our indoor sports at this point in time, which I think has been a good decision to allow us to focus on what's going on in the court and make sure we have all those processes in place and procedures in place. And our athletic staff, our Chuck Smith and Kelsey Weeks, and of course Eddie McGuire and our athletic training staff have done amazing work and make sure that's functional. And we're through about 10 days, and we evaluate every moment. We're in that gym of every contest. We have our first men's women's doubleheader this weekend, so that'll give us another opportunity. And then our hope is to continue just to kind of evaluate the environment on our campus and in our community to determine whether it's an appropriate time to allow some spectators in, whether it's players' families or season ticket holders. We've heard from many of our longtime season ticket holders that are already raising their hand going, can we be first? And we know how important that is to so many people. So we'll continue to evaluate that and continue to evaluate everything we do and, refine processes and protocols to make sure it's safe. But fortunately, so far, we've been able to function in a safe manner. It's obviously different. If you come to a game right now, you're not going to see a scores table on the floor. Mark Gartman's crew, Sarah, if you'll pass this along, have been amazing. Help us. They built scores tables into the stands. So we now space out, the Dale Pruitts of the world and Pete Mandolias, and we've spaced them out into the stands. Bill Coates is clear in the top doing the broadcast. And I guess that's the last thing I will share. I know there's still a lot of people that want to view us. And so Chuck Smith did a wonderful job of upgrading our live stream capabilities. And so you can go to our YouTube channel and see it with Bill Coates play-by-play piped in through it. And we've had amazing response and a lot of views last week. So we'll continue to evaluate it. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you, Kevin. Of course, Kevin gave us a health scare as well, but the news is very positive.
The news is wonderfully positive. I'm just in a matter of healing and no further treatment to follow up with. Thank you.
In a bit, we're going to be presenting some resolutions that at least they'll be presented to the board for adoption. To those of the family members here present, we want you to know that we truly want to live the values that were so important to your family members. And so for us, it's about building on this legacy that was so important to you and to carry it forward in the best ways possible. So we want to thank you for being here today. Thank you, Ms. Smith.
This time we will ask Elise to come forward and read the first resolution for Monty Newman. And I must add too, with these, the 3 employees that were here, it's close to 90 years of service to our college. And we know that's why we are who we are, because of the dedication of people, not only to come to college, but to stay and make it what it is today. So thank you for sharing your families.
Good morning. Because Bonnie Lee Newman was a dedicated and beloved professor at Tyler Junior College for 30 years, the Tyler Junior College Board of Trustees wishes to hereby acknowledge his passing and by offering sincere condolences to his loved ones, to his friends and loved ones who would agree that he was born on December 18, 1943 in Mount Pleasant and passed away December 28, 2020 in Thailand. And he graduated from Mount Pleasant High School in 1962 and earned bachelor's and master's degrees from East Texas State College in Commerce. And that he was a man of great faith and a member of Pleasant Hill Baptist Church in Tyler, and that he was employed at Tyler Junior College from 1969 until 1999, serving as a drafting instructor, program director, and department chair in the engineering department, and from 2011 until 2014 as an adjunct professor of engineering design technology. And that he was known as a man of few words who demonstrated his love for his family through his generous actions. And that he was preceded in death by his parents, Willie and Cora Lee Newman, and his in-laws, Wayne and Blanche South. And that he is survived by his wife, Judy, son, Kevin Newman, and wife, Yvonne of White House, daughter, Karen Newman McCullough, and husband, John of Mount Pleasant, and daughter, Kelly Newman Bedford, and husband, Brian of Tyler. Grandchildren, Garrett Newman, Madison Newman, Reagan McCullough Dixon, Emma McCullough, Rylan Bedford, and Lexi Bedford. Sisters, Billy Ann Crump, and husband, Danny, and Susan Hip, and husband, Nick, all of Mount Pleasant, and brother, Michael Newman, and wife, Teresa of Nickel. Therefore, be it resolved that the members of the Tyler Junior College Board of Trustees publicly present this expression, and be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be presented to the loved ones of Monty Newman on behalf of the Tyler Junior College Board of Trustees.
Elise, I don't believe there's any family members from Mr. Newman here today, but we will get that resolution to them. So if you would join us into Emily Prater, please. Absolutely.
Because Emily Prater was a true champion and valued alumna of Tyler Junior College, the Tyler Junior College Board of Trustees wishes to hereby acknowledge her passing by offering sincere condolences to her loved ones, friends and loved ones who would agree that she was born on July 22nd, 1929 in Edom and passed away on December 23rd, 2020 in White House. And that she graduated from Tyler High School in 1945 at the age of 15 and attended TJC from 1945 to 1946. And she earned her bachelor's and master's degrees from East Texas State University in Commerce. And that she began her career at TJC in 1964 as an accountant in the business office and working with the cheerleaders, and later became director of student activities, working with student organizations, but mostly with the Student Senate. And as cheerleader sponsor, held cheerleader camps in the area and even hosted a camp in Germany. And upon her retirement in 1989, the Emily Prater Presidential Scholarship was created in her honor. And that Emily and her husband Kenneth were loyal TJC fans who attended countless Apache football and basketball games, and they were known to invite students into their home for Sunday dinner when the campus cafeteria was closed. And that she remained active at TJC after her retirement, working closely with the TJC Alumni Association, where she served as president and a member of the board of directors. And in 2012 was honored with the TJC Alumni Association's Special Recognition Award. And that she was preceded in death by her husband of 65 years, Kenneth Prater, her parents, Roy Andrew Wyatt and Alice Steele Wyatt, her brother Royce Wyatt, and her sister-in-law, Fern Tom Prater Timmons, and that she is survived by her loving family, including daughters Sherry Patterson of Longview and Sandy Adams and husband Rick of White House, grandchildren Jason Adams and wife Crystal of Fairfield, Rebecca Adams Rodriguez and husband Chris of White House, Jennifer Patterson Lowe and partner Leslie Jr. of Tyler, and Julie Patterson Odom and husband Jason of Wiley, great-grandchildren Colby Adams, Reagan Rodriguez, Alex Rodriguez, Cole Odom, and Kaden Odom, sisters-in-law Mary Prater Jones and Tyler, and Rebecca Wyatt of Odessa, several nieces and nephews, as well as countless TJC students who benefited from her encouragement and wisdom over the years. Therefore, be it resolved that the members of the Tyler Junior College Board of Trustees publicly present this expression, and be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be presented to the loved ones of Emily Prater on behalf of the Tyler Junior College Board.
I believe Mitch Andrews, can you say a few words?
Thank you, Mrs. Smith. President Mahia and our trustees, I appreciate the opportunity to make a few remarks about Emily Prater. I really don't think I need to make many remarks. Anybody who's been part of the TJC family since the 1960s knows Emily Prater. She's one of the icons of TJC. But I remember first encountering her in the late 1960s when my family moved back to Tyler. My dad began to coach at TJC. I remember Saturday evening Apache football games at Rose Stadium. I ran around with a group of rabble-rousers, I would say. And Emily was sitting with the TJC family, and she was one of my TJC moms who helped keep me in line during those games. I always remember Emily cheering the Apaches on, or complaining under her breath about the referee calls, or holding up feathers up and fussing if the TJC band didn't get it right at the end. It was always TJC. I remember encountering Emily again when I came as a student at TJC. And she found me. I didn't find her. She came and searched me out and made sure that I had everything that I needed to be successful here at the college. She exhibited that level of care, which I think is so important to this institution and distinguishes us among other institutions of higher education. And then I came in contact with Emily again when I started to work professionally as an administrator. And I think it was really then that I realized how she truly represented the spirit of this institution. In her work with our Alumni Association, she was an incredible advocate and helped us build an association which is now more than 2,000 dues-paying members strong. Personally, I remember Emily putting her arms around me every time I saw her, giving me a little peck on the cheek and saying, "You are one of mine," and always so concerned about what I was doing and how I was moving on. I think I would say in conclusion that, we were fortunate, all of us are fortunate to have been touched by Emily. And I think Emily was an example again of the care of TJC and how it is so important that we focus truly on student success and lift up our students to be successful in this institution to help serve. I'd like to recognize Emily's daughters who are here today. They are like me. They grew up in the TJC family, and they're going to come forward for a few remarks. Please.
Well, after all of that, I don't really know what to say, except that I was just going to give a few examples of my mother's giving spirit. I remember when she first started working here, and Thanksgiving of 1964, she found out that 2 of the football boys were not going home for Thanksgiving. So she invited them over to the house, and they came. And that was the beginning of feeding the athletic boys, basketball, football, and on one Sunday night a month, she fed them because the cafeteria was closed. And that was something that we all enjoyed. And another example that I remember is when the basketball team went to Hutchinson, Kansas for the National Junior College Tournament. And one of the boys did not have a jacket. And she and Maxine Robinson bought him a jacket so that he would have something to wear. And that's just a few things that stick out in my mind.
Well, like I said, she's covered most all of it, but I was in the 5th grade, I think, when my mom started working at TJC. And so it was a very impressionable time for me. And the fact that she would invite everybody over to our house and just love on them. And when integration started, when they had the first black basketball player, football player, that made no difference to my mother. And she taught us that color, nationality, whatever, made no difference. And so when we grew up, that's just the way it was. Everybody was welcome in our home. She just had the biggest heart. And her love and our whole family's love of going to the ball games, basketball games. I fell in love with basketball, watching Coach Wagg's teams play, watching Pooh Welch play. It gave me such a love for basketball, and it kind of involved my career after that because I became a basketball coach and a teacher. I taught for 38 years, and I shouldn't be nervous, but I'm still nervous speaking in front of people. And if my neck is red, that's my mom's fault. Because anytime she got nervous, upset, her neck would turn scarlet. But I had the privilege of my mom living with me the last 8 months of her life. And I will always cherish that time that we had together. But the thing, she wouldn't remember a whole lot. But if she was out, she met somebody, or somebody came to the house, first thing she would say was, I retired from Tyler Junior College, and I love working with kids. And that was her only thing she remembered. But she always remembered that. Thank you.
Thanks. This year,
Peggy, let me say that I was one of those students that was invited to their house. And it was truly a family affair. She treated me like family. And the rest of them did too, and they were the best grilled hamburgers.
My dad could grill hamburgers for sure.
He could do it. I'm a recipient one of those Sunday nights.
Well, I said, I couldn't
My
believe
daughter was TJC.
she was well loved. Like I said, I couldn't believe she was only here for 25 years because I'm humbled that she was here my whole life. At this time, we'd like to do a resolution for Rick Waller.
Because Rick Waller was a dedicated and beloved professor at Tyler Junior College for 31 years, the Tyler Junior College Board of Trustees wishes to hereby acknowledge his passing by offering sincere condolences to his friends and loved ones who agree that he was born on July 22nd, 1953 in Tyler and passed away October 18th, 2020 in Tyler. And that he proudly served his country in the United States Air Force and in Vietnam, and then worked for more than 40 years as in law enforcement, including 10 years as the White House Police Chief and 22 years as Smith County Constable for Precinct 3, and served as a Smith County Deputy and in police department positions in Jacksonville and True. And throughout his law enforcement career, he also imparted his knowledge to thousands of Tyler Junior College students as an adjunct professor of criminal justice from 1986 until his retirement in 2017. And then he had a passion for helping children and was active in Sharon Shriners and was past president of the Sharon Shrine Ruffians and past master of the Henry Marshbell's Masonic Lodge number 1371 in White House. And that he was preceded in death by his father, Richard E. Waller, his late wife, Deborah Waller, his father-in-law, Logan Hamilton, and mother-in-law, Lucille Hamilton. And that he is survived by his wife, Amelia Waller of Tyler, Mother, Opal Jean Evans of White House. Son, Mark Waller of Troop. Daughters and sons-in-law, Jennifer and Clay Cover of Flint. Krista and Paul Hickey of White House. And Ashley and Dave Shane of Irving. Granddaughters, McKenna and Grace Waller of Troop. Morgan and Lauren Hickey of White House. And Finley Cover of Flint. And brother-in-law and wife, Roger and Sandy Hamilton of Longview. Therefore, be it resolved that the members of the Tyler Junior College Board of Trustees publicly present this expression, and be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be presented to the loved ones of Rick Waller on behalf of the Tyler Junior College Board of Trustees.
I believe Jason Waller is here to have some comments.
This is me, Dr. Again, members of the board. Let's first get some things out of the way. We were not related. But we call each other because I go back to being a student 40 years ago this past fall, and actually started as an engineering major. Had Mr. Newman as one of my instructors. So I found the light and moved into law enforcement. And started as a police cadet here at the college, and worked midnights with Gene Carney, who was a longtime police officer here and chief here for a while. And one particular night, this constable rolled up next to us here, and I met Rick Waller for the first time. And it was one of those things where, are we related? Because, you know, we're both law enforcement, we're both Waller, both kind of big old boys. And at least, you know, we were back then. But I got to know Rick for the last, gosh, almost 40 years, and worked with him when I was at the sheriff's office when he was constable. And then came to work here 20 years ago and worked with him. And people would often say that, well, you know, yeah, so-and-so had, you know, we had Waller at TJC, and whatnot. Did you have a daytime Waller or a nighttime Waller? Because there was that distinction. But worked with Rick, and I think at least it's mentioned thousands of criminal justice majors, probably several thousands of police officers across the state. We thank Rick Waller for teaching them everything from basic theory to physical tactics, and he was a master firearms person, and a great guy that we did call each other cuz. Most people thought we were either he was my father, which he was way too young to be my father, or that we were brothers, but we settled that we would just be considered cousins. So Mark and Mia and family, thank you for sharing him with us for 30 plus years. We missed him when we retired, but he told me, he said he enjoyed traveling with Anita, and was always, he said, I'll come and lecture, I'll come guest, but I just can't, you know, I've got better things to do, and I can't blame him. But thank you for honoring Rick, and we miss.
Thank you, Jason. Would a family member like to speak?
Jason, I have to admit, I looked at Dr. Mejia and I said, are they related?
I thought the same.
I'd like to ask everyone to stand for a moment and silence. So remember, and Rick Waller. Second, one himself. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Anyone who wishes to address the board today? Okay. Dr. Mejia?
Thank you very much. I was actually going to sign up for public comment. And I mean, as a member of the community, thank the board for the amazing work that you do. We mean that sincerely. We're very grateful for all the time and energy that you dedicate. And I'm going to allow one of your dear friends, Ellen Matthews, to share a few words, and then Kevin Powell.
Good morning again, and happy board appreciation month. I have to say that I was honored but petrified when Dr. Mejia asked me to say a few words this morning. But this is for board appreciation, so I'm happy to do it. Well, I've worked with the TJC board for more years than I can count. This particular group started with the appointment of Peggy in 1999 and was completed with the election of Ron in 2008. It's been said many times, only because it's true, that you all are the best board in the state and probably in the nation. With only the best interests of TJC in mind, you each in your own individual ways provide your ideas, leadership, and support for the many opportunities that come TJC's way. There have been some doozies. You've consistently done it with kindness, yet with the seriousness that each situation warrants. In addition, each of you are not only a much loved part of the TJC family, but also of the Tyler and East Texas community, serving where you can to make this a better part of the state in which to live. And for all of these things, you are much appreciated. Thank you for your continued interest in and support of TJC and our community. Thank you.
I'd like to also thank you first for letting us recognize the board. This is, I think, the first time we've had this opportunity, and thank you for not letting another day go by that we didn't do that. So, board, thank you so much for all that you do for 1,245 employees of the college, whether they're full-time, part-time, faculty, staff, or student. We thank you for what you do, what you do individually and what you do collectively. Because we all know you've got your specialties. And in fact, through the work session, we saw some of that in action. Thank you for that. During my time when I was serving on the boards with Coupa, HR, both in the state office or the regional or the national boards, I talked to a lot of people about what's going on at your school, whatnot, and these are 2-year, 4-year public and private institutions. And never failed, we talked about what your board is like. And I am so grateful to have a board that believes in the college and that works well with the college and works well with each other. Because when you hear those horror stories of those who deal with institute or employees of institutions, they have a dysfunctional board. It goes deep into the college or the institution that they serve. So we appreciate you and stick around. There's a lot more to come, I'm sure. And we've got a little bit of appreciation we'd like to give you.
Maybe we should get in there. That's probably not a bad. Thank you. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Ellen, for these kind words. We're all very grateful to have the opportunity to be here. Dr. Mejia? Talk about
Yes.
our rating report.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Sarah actually put an incredible job you and your team have done to get us these ratings. So we're gonna make them public. I routed them already, but I think last time, Mr. Coker, I jumped the gun and I started celebrating some ratings, and you reminded me that they have to be actually officially sanctioned. So Sarah, back to you.
Thank you for the opportunity to present the bond rating. It'll be as riveting as the earlier discussions we've had. So everybody just seatbelt yourself in. These rating affirmations occur every 2 years. And now the only group we deal with are Standard & Poor's. Years and years ago, we had to have 2 rating issues. But now we just have to have the one. So we just stay with Standard & Poor's. And they do occur every 2 years. And there's 2 ratings that we're given. One is on our bonds that are supported by property taxes. So that's going to be our general obligation bonds that we have from 2015. And that's going to be our maintenance tax notes from 2015, 2016, and 2019. And those, they reaffirm their rating of AA+, which I think is awesome. And that's going to be usually a higher rating because your property taxes are more known and more secure than possibly the revenue. And that we've definitely seen that this year. So we have a stable outlook, and so very, very pleased with that. The other rating we get is on our revenue bonds, the combined key revenue bonds. And that's going to cover our 2006, 2014, and 2016. Those are the combined revenue bonds we've issued. Mainly for, since I've been here, those have been issued for the building of dorms because it's a dedicated revenue stream and it's palatable to do that. So that one, we have an A+ rating, which I think is also awesome. It's going to be a little bit lower because it's definitely based off of what's going on in the environment, what's going on in the area. And so that's why it's an A+. I wish it would be both netted. But our ratings are really important just because it shows the financial strength. We use it a lot when we're discussing financial issues with the co-board or the legislature. Your bigger institutions, the larger ones, are able to do the ratings. It's about $12,000 to do a rating, and that primarily goes to paying the comptroller, to the general counsel in Texas to review, and then of course the rating agency itself. I definitely have to do a couple of free shout outs. Carol Hudson and her team help provide the financial information that goes into these reports. Devin Wiggins and her financial aid team for the cohort, the default rate, the rates that they want to see on the students that take out the Pell Grants. And then Britt Sabota in the registrar's office. I can't do this review without having our student data. And poor Britt, I'll email like, okay, I need to see it this way. Now I need to see it this way. Because what the rating review involves is about a 2-hour conversation on the phone. And in years past, we had included board members when it was a big review. But there's probably about 3 or 4 on the other side of the phone, and they're asking all sorts of questions. From, the property tax values, to what's happening in school, the student enrollment. This year, the huge focus was on what we're doing with COVID. How were we protecting our students? What were we doing? What did we see? Explaining to them how the federal grants really helped us out. So it's kind of a storytelling, but it's nonfiction. And so all the data points that everybody gives is really, really helpful in crafting our story and our response, because that's what I feel like you're doing, is you're telling the story of TJC from the past. And that's what's so great, is we have such a strong past as a foundation, what we've done currently, and then what we're looking to do in the future. And so our story sells, I think it sells really well. And so very, very proud of our AA+ and our A+ ratings that we just received in January.
We do, and I'm going to invite Tim Lester, Vice President for Operations, and then Kathy, Vice President for Advancement, to introduce you and close to the topic.
Thank you, Dr. Mejia. It is my pleasure to introduce David Liner to the board. David is our Director of Institutional Safety and Emergency Management at TJC. This is a position that, quite frankly, we reevaluated last year as concerns have grown, we realized that we really needed to relook at the expectations and needs that the college had. And so we conducted a nationwide external search, and it was a unanimous decision when David crossed our path. So a little bit about David. Most recently, he took from FedEx. He was their corporate safety advisor, specifically, I think, for Texas and New Mexico. But most of his experience has been in higher ed. So he spent most of his 25 years in this capacity at SMU and at UT Dallas. Yeah. He started off as an engineer from, I think it's your bachelor's from UT El Paso, and then he has a graduate degree in environmental science and an MBA, again from SMU. So we are very excited to have him here. Certainly, he's a member of all the correct societies and industry associations. I just think he's going to bring a wealth of experience that will bring to bear at TJC. Fun fact, he is a Tylerite. So he was actually born in Tyler. He couldn't wait to get back. So in a function of TJC. So help me in joining him. He started on January 4th and he's already hit the ground running.
I want to wreck.
I'd like to introduce Bill Wong. He has joined us now as Director of Advancement Operations and Chief Operating Officer for the Tyler Junior College Foundation. Bill is sitting here, and he is a first-generation graduate from college, and he worked with the Delaware Community College system in advancement and helped them set up many of their standards for advancement. And then took a short foray into a university setting for the Savannah College of Art and Design, which is located in Atlanta, Georgia. And then we wooed him away to come here to Tyler Junior College to help us grow our institutional advancement efforts. We're happy to have him aboard and to benefit from his expertise.
Next, we have the consideration of the minutes for both the November and December meetings. Can we approve those in one? Okay. So moved. Second, Mr. Coker, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved. Okay, next we have the consideration of the appointment to the Tyler Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone number 3 board. Dr. Mania.
Yes, thank you very much. We, as an administration, we were making a recommendation to the Board of Trustees that Kim Lesser, Vice President for Operations, serve on the Trustee Board, and then Trustee David Hudson and Sarah Van Lee from the Years Board. And that's presented for your consideration.
Or we will divide these separately though, so is that, pardon me. When you're all the same, okay, very good. Mr. Gazelle seconds. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, so then, thank you, Kim. David and Sarah. Okay, next we have the consideration of the monthly financial and investment reports for both November and December. I know we talked about these in our work session. Sarah, do you have anything to add to that report? I think unless there's another question, I'm good. Is there any other questions for Sarah regarding this? A second. Mr. Pepper, all in favor? Any opposed? So moved for both November and December. Next, we have the consent agenda. Dr. Linda, is there anything you'd like to point out on this consent agenda?
Thank you very much, Ms. Smith, and thank you everyone for the processes that are used. They've been reviewed at the work session by Sarah and Jeff Hassett, so we're recommending approval.
Do I hear a motion? Dr. Bridgehaven, Mr. Gazelle seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
So moved. Okay. At this time, 11:47, the board will go into an executive session in the board conference room. If any action is taken following the meeting, we will present it here. Thank you very much for coming today. Appreciate your
Okay. I'm going to get one of my